Hello everyone. I wanted to just share a little bit about the philosophy that you will be learning about on our 200-hour training program. If you're interested in yoga philosophy, you've come to the right place. It's my passion, and I love to share this with everyone on the 200-hour training to really help them understand how we can change our relationship to life in a way that yogis have known about for thousands of years, but most Western people are not aware of. So we do this through looking more in depth at the Ateline Path, which is a path that Patanjali laid out in the Yoga Sutras to help us actually live a happy and fulfilled life. So it's a path to enlightenment, but the interesting thing is that there isn't really a path to enlightenment because it's really about our true nature. So our true nature is already free. We're already whole and complete and unlimited. We just don't know it. So we don't know it because we're blinded by our conditioning and by the obstacles to enlightenment, our fears and desires specifically, are big obstacles. And we also have this idea that we can obtain happiness outside of ourselves. And so what you will learn in the 200 hours is a different relationship to life. And we approach it by looking at the yamas and niyamas, which are the ethical components to the Ateline Path, and those are the first two limbs of the Ateline Path. So we spend quite a lot of time really looking in depth into each of these concepts, and actually they're like the 10 commandments of yoga. But when you look deeply into them, they're really an intelligent and sane way to live your life in a way that you are going to be content. So it's quite different from the Western approach to life, which is very materialistic, where we think that we're going to be happy when we can earn a certain amount of money, we can meet the right partner, we can have 2.5 kids, live in this beautiful detached house, have 2 cars. So we tend to think happiness depends on those things, on having the right relationship, the right job, the right amount of money. And it's always a little bit out of reach. And even when we do achieve those things, we might find that actually, we're not so happy in that relationship. And we don't really like being a mother. And we might just think, well, we don't have enough money to go on a great vacation every year. And so we start finding something else to feel like we're lacking. So this is a whole different approach to life where we actually are appreciating everything that we have and that we're grateful for everything that we have. And we're trying to live our life with incredible integrity, and also in the knowledge that we have no control over what happens. So therefore we're learning how to embrace what happens with open arms and to have absolute trust in the whole process of life, and to trust that life is giving us exactly what we need in any given moment, and that it couldn't be any other way. And so, as I said, we're approaching that through the study of the yamas and niyamas, which is the ethical component of life, which is, strongly recommended in yoga, that we can't really go anywhere on this path if we don't have a strong ethical relationship to life. So we're going to be looking at things like not causing harm to others, truthfulness, being interested in what truth is, and really trying to have a more objective relationship to life. Not coveting, so not being jealous and envious of other people, but really appreciating what we have and thinking about what we can give and contribute to life rather than what we can take. Also having a sane relationship to our own sexuality, so that part of life is not making us unhappy. Also not having a materialistic, greedy relationship to life. And like I said, finding ways to give rather than take. And then the other, the niyamas, or the observances, are purity. So purity and cleanliness, like actually having a really good relationship to our own bodies and our own space and keeping them clean and orderly, and also being observant of our thought patterns and actually really trying to shift them so that we're not going on and on about a negative, getting into a negative thought spiral that we're repeatedly, letting take over our mindset. So that might be a negative thought spiral about yourself, or it might be about another person or a situation, and it really takes us down. So actually seeing that we have the ability to change the way we're thinking about life. And then also to realize that our deep underlying nature is deep contentment, that when we remove the obstacles to us experiencing our true nature, that we actually can live in contentment, gratitude, and appreciation. We also learn about spiritual discipline, how we need to actually create practice for ourselves, to challenge ourselves so that we can build self-esteem and self-worth. And then we also learn about studying the self, so actually becoming very aware of our own relationship to life, both from the egoic point of view, but also from the point of view of consciousness of our true self, which is a bright light within us when we actually allow ourselves to let go of what's in the way of us experiencing that. And finally, we learn about surrender to the absolute. That means that we recognize that we're not in control, that there is a higher intelligence that is behind everything, and we bow down to that. And also we know that we are non-separate from that, that is actually who we are. And we are in awe and wonder about the miracle of life and about the gift of this precious human life. And we always learn how to look at everything from this much higher perspective. So that will put our own lives into the right kind of, just seeing how our own human lives are so small. We think things matter so much, but when we look up at the amazing night sky and we look at the stars, we realize that we're part of something so huge and miraculous, and it just puts everything into perspective. So keeping that in mind, just keeping the bigger picture in mind at all times. So those are all of the ethical components that you're going to learn about yoga, and then you're going to learn how those feed into allowing us to be able to sit in meditation with a clear conscience, that we know we're doing our best, and then we're able to steady the breath and to withdraw our senses, to refine our concentration, and to just sit calmly and peacefully in a meditative state where we're just present to whatever is arising without judgment, and then eventually actually recognizing that we are consciousness itself, that we are awareness itself, and that we've never been anything different. And we're not this separate, limited individual that we've taken ourselves to be, but we're something way more immense. We are consciousness, awareness itself, and that we learn how to identify with that only, to identify with our wholeness, our completeness, our infinite nature. And that is true liberation. So that is what I want to share with you, and what I'm very passionate about. So I hope that you will join me to go on this journey and adventure, and find out about yoga philosophy, which is going to be a complete turning point in your life. Thank you for listening. Namaste.